The idea for Chinese Prodigal began shortly after my father passed away in 2019. I was living in Wisconsin when it happened, as I still do, and I couldn't make it back home to Texas before he died in the hospital. I had about 2 weeks. What took me so long? That was the big question I set out to explore in the title chapter and, less pointedly, in the others. The easy answer, which is not entirely inaccurate, is that I was self-absorbed and uncaring, a bad son. But I'd like to believe that nothing about family is so simple. In this book, I sought to plumb the nature of the relationship between a Chinese immigrant father and his son, an immigrant himself, but one who had spent all but a year of his life in the United States. What did it matter, for instance, that we left Hong Kong and came to this country in 1971 under the auspices of the 1965 Hart-Celler Act, which ended decades of racist policy that had effectively banned immigration from Asia? What did it matter that I excelled at my studies as a child, mastering English at the expense of Chinese, and not only stopped needing my parents' guidance in grade school, but actively began to distrust it? What did it matter that I found myself in largely segregated educational, professional, and residential spaces, most of my own choosing, well into adulthood and a parenthood of my own? These questions seemed to take me far afield from the one I'd set out to answer, and I hoped that they were not mine alone. What I needed to explore was race, namely its covert reaches into my life and into those of the people and institutions that saw me in racial terms, whether they knew it or not. But my efforts weren't focused exclusively on figuring out what others thought was good or bad or tolerable about being Chinese or Asian in the United States, but also on determining how those meanings depended on the state of being white and black at any given moment. I wanted to understand how Asian American identity was invented and reinvented in the wake of the Civil Rights Movement and later historical struggles for racial justice for Black Americans. Although I wasn't aware of the term model minority until I was an adult, the idea behind it, that I was deserving, not just because I was Asian, but because I wasn't Black, no doubt opened doors and hearts to me in ways that I wasn't aware had anything to do with race.